IT Enabled is a technology consulting firm that works with businesses across the nation to unlock productivity, reduce expenses, and increase the company's bottom line. With more than 75 years combined experience in the technology industry, our ability to manage and maintain your systems is unparalleled. We are resourceful, trustworthy, and experienced to help your business. Learn more about how we can help you with fast and effective 24-hour support at itenabled.com.
Hi, I'm Tara Watson-Watkins, President and CEO of the Lufkin Angelina County Chamber of Commerce. Welcome to the Connect podcast, connecting business to community. I'm here today with my co-host, Blake Pollino with BP Media Group.
I love this episode that we just got done recording with Emily Thornton, the Executive Director of Angelina Beautiful Clean. And if you did not know it, you cannot recycle a pizza box. So we learned all kinds of cool stuff about recycling and how this organization really helps to keep our town and our community beautiful, and really great organization and awesome programs and all the neat little things that go along with that. So let's jump into that episode now.
Well, we are excited to have the new Angelina Beautiful Clean Director, Emily Thornton, with us. Welcome, Emily.
Thank you guys so much for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being on.
So why don't you tell all the listeners about yourself, let them know who you are and what you love.
Okay. Well, my name is Emily Thornton. I'm a Lufkin, Angelina County native. I didn't even go that far away for college. I loved my hometown so much. I'm a Stephen F. Austin State University graduate. I studied mass communications and public relations and advertising. And I love giving back. I love my community. I love it so much. I wanted to give back to it with this role with Angelina Beautiful Clean. And that's about it about me.
And you started last year, is that right? In 2020 was when you started?
Yes, I started in June of 2020.
Okay, so you've been here about 6 months.
Yeah. And it still feels so weird, right in the middle of COVID as well.
Yeah, baptized by fire.
Ugh, that's a good way to put it.
Well, you know, Angelina Beautiful Clean is a over 30-year organization. Mm-hmm. Why don't you tell the listeners, if they're not familiar with that, what your mission is and what you do at ABC.
Yeah, so Angelina Beautiful Clean is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. Our mission statement is to educate and empower East Texans to take responsibility for enhancing their community environment. So that's just a really fancy way of saying that we want people to care about this little piece of East Texas that we have. We want to leave it a little cleaner and greener than we found it.
Yeah, that's great.
Oh, that's awesome. So what's been one of the biggest challenges so far as you've kind of gone as COVID aside? What's been probably your biggest surprise or your biggest challenge as you've kind of jumped into this role?
Jumping into this role, probably the biggest one, I think maybe a month or two in, the city was doing some budget cuts and we were looking at saying goodbye to our curbside recycling service. I'm going to go ahead and stress recycling isn't going away or hasn't gone away. It's just the curbside service. So. Yes. That was a huge setback. We had to, just like all throughout COVID, that was a huge setback to our organization and businesses and other nonprofits here locally. We just had to get creative. We had to think, okay, the need is still there. How do we reach these people? How do we keep the community recycling? That was huge. That really, recycling resiliency became my job and still is a huge portion of my job. To this day.
So tell us some options that we can do, because I know, our family has always recycled, and now I turn to put stuff in my recycling bin that I would typically put on my in my blue bin. Yeah. And it's not there. So how can I continue to recycle?
Probably you have two options. So we've transitioned from a curbside recycling service to a drop-off recycling service. So probably the easiest way to recycle in your home or in your business is to have sorted bins. So having two bins set aside, one for paper and cardboard, and then another for number 1, number 2 plastic and steel cans. Okay. That's probably the easiest way to do it. That's how I recycle in my own home. And then once those bins fill up, you take it to one or two of our drop-off sites. We have one at the Regional Recycling Center over on 500 South Park Drive, and then the other drop-off over in North Lufkin, that's 800 Amy Street.
Okay.
So you just put them in their coordinating bins, and that's one way to continue to recycle.
Okay.
Or you guys can participate in the privatized curbside service that Angelina Beautiful Clean has brought to our community, and that is it's called Lufkin Recycling. It's a $25 fee, and that covers 2 pickups and your blue curbside bags.
Okay.
And that way, you can continue to recycle exactly how you were. In fact, you can even recycle glass as long as it's
So I don't
bagged
have to
separate.
separate
No.
anything except my glass.
Exactly. With the paid service, you can operate as normal. The only change really is that it's going to be every, I believe, second and fourth week of the month.
Okay.
But your day doesn't even change.
Okay.
So.
Very cool. So talk about a little bit about why this is important, like in East Texas. Obviously, it's, our environment, it's our community, it's our home. But talk a little bit about why this is such an important program and an important organization for everybody.
Recycling in general promotes our mission of preventing litter and illegal dumping. Recycling and harping on recycling education in general prevents litter from on our streets, and it helps keep items out of our landfill. I always like to say, if I'm out in the community, whenever you're getting an item and you're about to put it in your trash bin, you're putting a life sentence on it. That item is going to be sitting in the landfill for the rest of its life. If you have an opportunity to recycle that item, that's great for our environment. It gives it a new life. And something I didn't realize before coming into this role is how toxic plastics are.
Yeah.
That plastic bottle that is just thrown out your window while you're driving. Please don't do that, by the way. It's not only unsightly to look at, it can harm an ecosystem, but it can even affect the water that we drink. I didn't realize that seeps into our groundwater. It has so many bad effects on our community, our ecosystem, and our environment in general. So.
What are some other misconceptions about recycling? Like, is there? I've heard this before.
That we're hippies.
Okay, yeah, that's true. That too. What is? And we'll talk about the hippie thing in a second. But what are there things that we try to recycle that we shouldn't be? Like kind of public service announcement. Okay, so styrofoam not recyclable.
No. In Angelina County, Lufkin specifically, we can recycle number 1, number 2, plastic bottles, jugs, and jars. Same thing with glass. Anything with a neck, we can recycle. And always flip that item over, and it'll have a little recycling icon, and in the middle, it'll have a 1 or a 2. So those are the items that we can recycle here. We can also recycle steel cans, cardboard, and paper.
Gotcha. Is this a myth? And maybe you can answer this for me. I've always heard that you can't recycle a pizza box. Is that true?
Because it's greasy, yeah.
So the pizza box, not recyclable?
Yeah.
I've been totally doing that incorrectly.
Same here. I was like, hey, it's cardboard. It goes in the
Yeah, me too.
right?
Technically, you can. But, I mean, if you think about it, would it be nasty over time?
Right.
It's greasy. It has the cheese. It has sauce all in it. That's an item that's contaminated, and that's a huge problem that the city of Lufkin was having with our recycling program. It was contaminants that were sitting in the blue bin, but it was stinking up the whole batch that they were collecting.
Right.
So, yeah, those are items that aren't accepted. If you have a steel can, like I always like to use the baked beans example. If you have them and you dump them out, but you still have a couple in there, just rinse it out.
Rinse it out.
Right.
Yeah.
It makes it a little bit cleaner.
That's
Gotcha.
right.
Well, very cool.
My daughter loves science.
Yeah.
And so she was watching in the ocean. And so she was watching this video not long ago. And she brought it to me and she was like, Mom, look. And it was, trash in the ocean, just how it had piled. And so I was trying to explain to her, about how people just dump stuff out in the middle of the ocean and then it just kills. And she was like, but it's killing all the fish and it's killing the mermaids and it's killing all of this.
Not the mermaids.
Yeah, but you think about it, just where trash ends up, whether it's recyclable or other types of trash, that it just ends up and it just seeps everywhere.
Yes. With Angelina Beautiful Clean, we have a lot of cleanups all throughout the year. And with COVID, gathering hasn't been really easy for our organization. Having people come together in a room, not possible. So we kind of launched a campaign of do your part while staying 6 feet apart. So we did a lot of outdoor cleanups.
Yeah.
First, a lot of adopt a highway cleanups. We have a stretch right along the chamber. You can see us out there about every other month cleaning up for our community. But what really was what just opened up my mind was we started teaming up with the Angelina Nature's River Authority, and we did stream cleanups. We went out into Hurricane Creek one day, and I was just getting so frustrated. I was just like, why is all of this material here? Who dumps this? And she was like, people aren't necessarily dumping it. It is from our roadways. It all comes back to our waterways. All of it does. That item that you think it doesn't matter, just throwing it out into your backyard, it does end up in the waterways, and that directly harms an ecosystem. We were finding root systems that had found their way through plastic bags and aluminum cans. It's incredibly sad. Yeah. And animals living in tires.
But y'all had a lot of tires down there.
Absolutely. Yes.
Well, you have several fantastic programs that you have throughout the year. You've got Shred Day. So why don't let's talk about each of the programs and let people know how they can participate. So let's start with Shred Day.
Shred Day is a great event that Angelina Beautiful Clean offers to our community. We park out over in front of the chamber, and it's a very highly anticipated event every single year. I got a lot of calls. People were really sad that they missed it in the spring of 2020. But any documents that you don't feel comfortable holding on to, so your old tax files, medical records, items that you don't feel comfortable just giving a quick little rip, 1, 2, and then throwing into the trash can. We provide a free service to not only dispose of them properly, but recycle those. So that was something I didn't know before I started this position. Not only are we giving you a free resource to dispose of items that you don't want and you don't want hanging around, you get to recycle them as well.
Very cool.
So, for example, to kind of go into our next one, Tire and E-Waste Collection Day. We probably in East Texas, the most common items you can find dumped are tires and TV and computer monitors. TV and computer monitors, we're still working on finding a solution for the community to properly dispose of those. So more information hopefully to come shortly. But especially tires, they're in our waterways. They're in neighborhood roads. They're everywhere. So by having these events, so that people know, okay, I know annually in October, I can count on Angelina Beautiful Clean's event to properly dispose of this. And not only properly dispose of it, recycle, give that tire a new life that was just sitting in your backyard, not putting it in the landfill.
So tell us, because we do get a lot of calls about what do I do with my old TV?
Yeah.
And why do we not have anyone in this area that can take them?
Well, it's because those materials they're not valuable, just to be really frank with you. They're hard to recycle. I've heard several things, mainly that, that paned glass and the clunky materials within it, the plastic, is just not valuable. It's not economical for any other third-party entity who will accept items like that to take. They just won't do it. Our landfill goes on and off of accepting these items as well. You can always call and ask if they would be willing to let you take those up there. But we always like to, I know there's a place in Jacksonville that will take those items as well.
That's good to know, because I have a giant TV in my garage that needs to go somewhere.
There is a place in Jacksonville, but again, there is a fee to drop that off, I believe so.
I need it to just go.
Go away, please.
So back to the shredding thing real quick. Is there a limit to how much you can bring?
No, businesses we do limit. I think we say 8 boxes is as much, but people take advantage of it. A lot of people during COVID did some spring cleaning, and it showed. But we were happy to have them. Those items just sit around, and a lot of people, they just don't know what to do with them, so they chunk them. This is an opportunity to recycle them, and we're happy to provide it for them.
Very cool.
You also do several fun events. You do the clay shoot.
Yes.
Where you raise money. Why don't you talk about that?
So our clay shoot event is coming up April 9th and 10th of 2021. We're just so excited to be able, and we feel blessed to be able to have an in-person activity and fundraiser.
And it's outside, so it's safe.
So we can be properly distanced, and the community comes together. We have a washer tournament on Friday, and then we have our shootout on our clay skeet shoot on Saturday. And it's just so much fun. This is going to be my first time at the event, so I'm really excited. I'm not a gun girl, so I'm going to have to practice, I think.
But the money that's raised for this, what does it go towards?
It goes right to beautification and environmental efforts in Angelina County. So for every dollar received from Angelina Beautiful Clean, we bring back $23 worth of goods and services to our community. So whether you know it or not, you are benefiting from Angelina Beautiful Clean. We love our community, and any little bit amount that it helps us greatly.
Yeah.
I think so many people want to know what that dollar goes to on their
Utility bill.
Yeah. So it goes back to beautification and to making sure that our community is pretty and clean.
It does. Not only are we out picking up litter, I would say probably since I've come into this role, I've had a cleanup every other month.
Right.
It's helping us get those together, help us get volunteers together, and it's also helping us award those who have beautification projects within our community as well.
Yeah. And you also do Drug Take Back Day.
Yes. That's an event that's also really important in our community. People really look forward to that one because you don't know what to do with those old prescriptions. That you definitely don't need to be flushing them, pouring them down the sink. You don't need to be flushing them down the toilet. That can really harm the water quality here.
Sure.
So we partner with the coalition, and we partner with the sheriff's department, and we offer the community an opportunity to bring those prescription drugs that they don't need anymore, and they have a proper way to dispose of them.
Very cool.
That's always a fun day to me to see like the giant bag of pills.
Oh, yeah.
It's just amazing to see that.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. Well, Emily, you're doing such a great job for our community. What has been your favorite thing so far?
Oh, man. I love serving. I really do. And that's such a cliche thing to say, but I picked this role, and I decided to go this route in my professional career because I want to give back. I had the opportunity in college to run a charity organization, and I was on the advertising public relations route. That's where I wanted to go in my career, and in that role, I kind of just decided I can do good with my everyday life, and that's kind of what I wanted to do. And coming into this role, it's very, very positive, and it's a very positive atmosphere. I love clocking in at 8 a.m. and then just trying my best to serve my community, give back to the place that made me me. So it's been a really elevating experience, I would say.
How can our listeners help? So first off, what do you need? Like what's the biggest need kind of going on in our community, and how can our listeners be involved in that, and how can they help?
Yeah. Advocating for your environment is probably the biggest thing.
Yeah.
You can always be active. Continuing to recycle is my biggest goal. Getting the community to see that need, really value our recycling program here. It's rare for a city our size to have as much of a sophisticated recycling program as we do. So getting them to value that, getting them to continue to recycle, that's huge. Supporting our organization, coming out to our clay shoot. And if you aren't able to participate or don't feel comfortable at the moment, you can visit our website and you can make donations there. Even the little dollar on your water bill, that helps out our organization just so much.
Yeah.
We really do value it.
Absolutely. I know the cleanup, I know you've partnered with, and a lot of our listeners are chamber investors.
Yeah.
I've seen that through the Young Professional Network. Is that what's going on with that? Is that something that people can get involved in, go out and help pick up
Absolutely.
trash in the creeks? Is that kind of what's going on with it? That's essentially what it is.
Sometimes it can kind of be, it's wherever the need is.
Yeah.
Sometimes we assess, we're like, okay, our roadway looks pretty good. But we've found that those waterways, they need a whole lot more of attention. And it's really funny because some of the items we find in there are ancient relics like Blockbuster bags.
Oh, wow.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so there's no telling how long that's been there.
Yeah.
And how long it's been since those areas have been cleaned. And those cleanups are just a ton of fun.
Yeah.
And we provide a service. I call it a curbside recycling service. or not recycling service, a curbside cleanup service where you pull up, I drop off all of the cleanup supplies, and I'll even come out and attend your cleanup. We've had several businesses say that they want to help out in their community, and cleanups are definitely the way to go. You can directly impact not only our community, but our local environment as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome.
That's eye-opening. So if the fact that a Blockbuster bag is still floating around in East Texas waterway should tell you that this stuff does not go away.
No, it doesn't.
I said I wanted to get back to the hippie thing in a second, but this is a super important organization. It's an important thing to promote, an important thing for people to do. And it's been really eye-opening for me here, especially in the last few years, how I think people are starting to understand that, like, when you put the political stuff aside, that conservation is important to people who, like, if you like to hunt and you like to fish, like, it's been very stereotypical for years that it's like, okay, I'm not for green initiatives because I like to live this way, but a lot of those people are wanting the same things. We're wanting to protect our waterways. We're wanting for our lakes to be clean so that we can fish in them, so we can hunt in them, and a lot of people have the same goals. So that this is, sorry, I wanted to get on a soapbox there for a second. We mentioned the hippie
I agree
thing.
with you.
We mentioned the hippie thing earlier, but it's great to see, and I think there's a lot of cool generational things going on with it. There's been a lot of cool, like, trash pickup trends on social media that were going on earlier this year, and it's a really cool thing to see, to look at. So we definitely encourage people to support it and to kind of get behind it and do whatever you can to help out with that.
Yeah, people from Texas are proud to be from Texas.
Yes.
And, there is no political bias with our organization.
Right.
We just want this little stretch of East Texas to be a little cleaner and greener than we found it. And I think, we all should value the place that we live, want it to be a little more beautiful and a little more clean, because we love the animals here. We love our beautiful community.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
Well, if people need to find you, where do they find you?
So always follow us on social media. We're Angelina Beautiful Clean. You can visit our website. That's angelinabeautifulclean.org. And you can also give me a call anytime, 936-632-5326. I'd be happy to help. If you guys see a need that needs to be out in the community, you think something needs to be brought to my attention, I'd be happy to help any kind of beautification project. We'd love to help out in any way that we can.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate your time, appreciate you coming on the podcast and sharing this organization with us. And we want to thank you so much for listening to the podcast. And we want you to subscribe to the podcast wherever you're listening, on whatever podcatcher or wherever you get your podcast, so that you can catch these episodes every Monday. And also, if you want to catch the video version of this podcast, you can catch that on the Chamber YouTube channel or on the Chamber Facebook page. Thank you so much and have a great week.